beautiful people of the world. Welcome to the Happy Conversation Ideas Show, where you can witness thoughts, ideas, and stories of the happiest people. I'm your host, Happy Bains here, and lifestyle coach. When I started the Happy Conversation Ideas Show, I knew what I wanted to do and invite one of the most creative, successful, and happiest people of the world. And recently, I decided to do a game changer. This time for some of the Canada's most popular musician and reveal the hidden secret of happiness. In our today's special guest had achieved an enormous amount of fame, personal success, and aim to do well and be well with the world. Today, I'm honored to introduce my friend and a very special guest, Tim Sars. Well, Tim's main instrument is the baritone sax. He also plays alto, tenor, flute, piano, and well as having a deep love for musical composition. Tim takes pride in himself in his ability to bring people all walks of life together through music making. Tim says, I am very lucky to call many of my Vancouver's best musicians my close friends. Some of the projects I have worked with include the Carnival Band's Activist Communist Band, Brass Band, Greenhorn Community Music Project, Youth Brass Band, the Sweetpea Swing Band, Tiny Islands, specialize in school shows. Wow. Camaro 67, Funk, Afro Beat Band, and Tim Sars Band performing original jazz-inspired composition. And you know what? One of the things I love about Tim's favorite quote is, guess what? He says, one of the favorite quote is, neither a lofty degree of intelligence, nor imagination, nor both together go to the making of genius. Love, love, love. That is the soul of genius by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Please welcome the one and only, my friend, Tim Sars.
Yes, thank you, Happy. What an intro.
Aha, it's my pleasure and honor today. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Thank you so much. When did you got clarity and vision about yourself that creating Tim Sars as a world-class musician?
Thank you so much, Happy. That's so sweet for you to even say in a lovely intro. So
my pleasure.
I've been playing music for my whole entire life.
Wow.
I think I've had a really blessed life. I've been very lucky with music. I come from a musical family.
Yes.
And when I was very young, I was surrounded by it. So both my parents are musicians. And when I was very, very young, we would travel all over the world. And I would just hear my parents working on songs. And I would be often in like the back room at a gig. And they would be playing traditional jazz songs or their own music and all sorts of stuff. So both my parents are a huge influence on me.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so that was a really, really lucky spot to be. And sometimes when I'm playing music, I've got my own ideas of how it goes because it's how my family's always played it. Sometimes I realize, oh, that's not the right way to play it, but that's my family's way of playing it. It's very authentic, right? So that was when I was young and I played instruments, and as a teenager I would play music, but I never really pursued it. I was very much a visual mind. It's always visual, and I wanted to do more visual art. I painted a lot when I was
Fantastic.
Young. Yeah, I love that. And my sister's a graphic designer, so she's older than me by quite a bit, and I always kind of looked up to her and stuff. But then when I got out of high school, I was working jobs all the time.
Yeah.
And I was living with my dad, and he's a professional musician. And I thought, I don't want to work till 4 a.m. every night in a kitchen. I want to do something a little bit more meaningful with my life. So I thought, like, should I go to art school?
Yeah.
Or should I go to music school? And music was just something I did already.
Yes.
And I thought, well, I've got an at-home tutor.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I bumped my microphone there. I got an at-home tutor, so I thought I'll just try out music school. I was already playing music in bands and stuff, and then it really became serious for me. And I think it's the first time I had discipline.
Okay.
And I really relished being in an environment where I just went 100% into music. That's all I did. That's all I cared to do. And I spent, I think, 3 hours a day practicing, 3 hours a day rehearsing.
Wow.
Minimum for a solid 2 years. It was so much fun, but it was so intense. That's just all I breathed, I ate, I drank music. That's all I did. Yeah. So that really like got my foot in the door in the music scene. And it's where I met a lot of the people that I still play music with today. And it was a really informative time. Now I'm a little bit older. So that was back in like 2000 tickety boo, like 2001, 2002, kind of time, 20 years ago, pretty much.
Well, you still look young and bright. That's
oh yeah, quality. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so that really got me going, and then I've just been working for a really, really long time. I'd say in 2005, I became a professional working musician, and being a professional is also a big development. Like, so I wasn't, when I was 2005 trying to get gigs and stuff, I was still very green. I was still very new to it, and I was still developing. And the beautiful thing with music is that never stops.
So true.
Yeah, I just keep learning. I keep learning. And I keep practicing, and I keep trying to get better and better. So then I had like a really big window of just hustling, having fun. I got married. I've got children. So I was dad. I was gigging. I didn't deal with school because school was like, I got too much happening, you know. And now my kids are a bit bigger. So I went back to school, and now I'm becoming more of an educator, which is like an interesting thing to shift identity.
Yes.
Yeah. So my identity is very much tied to playing the saxophone and being a performer and being a front person.
Yep.
And now there's like this shift of identity. I'm not just that. I'm also an educator. I'm a teacher. So I'm going to the university in Burnaby, SFU, Simon Fraser University.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
I get my degree as a music teacher. So that's my new endeavor. Yeah. And I'd say, I just got to spend the last week with a youth band, the Greenhorn Community Music Project.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's so much fun hanging out with all these young minds. So yeah, Great. Here I am.
Wow, fantastic. This is a very inspiring and very provoking, and also very insightful that your journey has started with your family was into that. And it's a great help, like you get when your family is into the same field, you can have your own teachers and mentor at home that before you start into the real industry. So you got all good lessons and inspiration from your family. That's fantastic. And you're the luckiest one. So that's great. Now as you know that there is a love and hate with technology these days. You love music and the internet too. And how do you see the progress right now with that? Can you use this to your advantage?
Ooh, that's a good question, Happy. Wow.
My pleasure.
Yeah, that's good. That's like very loaded. That's a very loaded question. So yeah, there's this kind of, the thing with music is that it's never the same. Yeah, it's always changing. It's it's never been. There was probably a period there where it was a kind of similar for a long time, and I think that ended about 100 years ago.
Oh yeah, of course.
Or over 100 years ago now. Yeah, and so it's always changing. so there's all these like nuts and bolts to the music industry.
Yeah.
And if you go to music school, you'll have people come in and they'll have a career talk about a career in music.
Yes.
Well, this is what I did 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 30 years ago. And it's always different. It's always something new. So it's very challenging.
Yes.
I think it can be stressful for some people.
Yes.
And so there's danger to it because that change, but it also has a beauty where it's always changing and it's always encouraging this innovation.
Yes.
And there's these opportunities, new opportunities that arise.
Yes.
So I think it's a real mixed bag. There's something like, for example, there's something called mechanical licensing.
Oh,
so if you have a song, you get mechanical licensing, right? You can get paid for having. So that started, mechanical licensing is called mechanical licensing because it started with a little box where you turn the thing and it plays a song.
Yes.
That's where that name comes from. Yeah. So that's where mechanical licensing. So the industry has changed from having a little box that spins a little thing to play your music.
So true. So it can be
to be able to download anything on your phone whenever you want. Like it's so different. And that happened in 100 years.
Perfect. So, I know it's very challenging with the technology and all, as you mentioned and elaborated a little that, where we are heading, that is the raw original music is kind of vanishing, but still there is millions and millions of great artists and singer musicians are out there, and it won't be so soon that the time will come that you just buy all these kind of small box and all. Okay, so what is your favorite music or your song which turns you on every time when you play?
Oh, so I'm very much a saxophone player, and I try to buy like music of people that are still alive.
Okay,
it's like my New Year's resolution. I'm like,
excellent.
I'm gonna listen to more music by living people.
So true.
Because I listen to all this old time stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
What I always go back to is like old time jazz, all up into bebop and like into the 60s and
fantastic.
Just like really, really heavy cutting jazzy saxophone player is really my favorite. I'm a saxophone nerd. I love it. So,
lovely.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. So have you ever been challenged while playing a music in a public, large audience?
Oh. Yeah. Well,
can you share something about that? Yeah.
I think I've been challenged. I think every performance has an element of like while I listen to jazzy saxophone music and really kind of cerebral music, when I perform, I'm not only a saxophone player, I'm very much a performer. I'm very much engaging. I kind of have a respect for the audience's time as well as my own. So I'm creating a balance of trying to give them what I love, jazzy solos, but I'm not wanting things to get boring. I don't want to like alienate the audience.
Yes.
And depending on the type of audience, that's always changing. So there's always a challenge. Some audiences are like really, really easy.
True.
They're right there. Some audiences, they don't know what they're getting. So I'm suddenly like, where is the line? So even like I notice when I play with other people, like my friends that I play with, you mentioned this, I get to play with the best musicians in Vancouver. And I think the reason all these people, I'm friends with them and they love playing with me is because every gig I do has a kind of crazy excitement energy to it.
Yes.
where there might be a set list. Often there isn't a set list. That's the order of songs.
Nice.
It's often, okay, what are we getting ourselves into today? How can we interact with the people? How can we make this an experience for everybody, that everybody can understand and get this experience and like take something away from it. So
wow. Now you
that's kind
talked
of where I
about,
go.
no, this is fantastic. And also I'm personally, I have witnessed your show and it was fantastic. You performed so well in the large audience and everyone was just like flawless, like, wow. And so that's why it came to my mind. I thought I will just ask you about the challenging part. Now, tell me, what's the difference between the saxophone and the sax boom? You know,
The
that sax
saxoboom?
boom. Yes.
Is the saxoboom that toy instrument?
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. They're pretty much the same thing. But when I was in college, I'm just going to take your question and just go somewhere else with it.
Okay.
When I was in college, my teacher, David Branter, he's a saxophone teacher, but he was also teaching a class. Oh my gosh, what class was it? It was like rhythm studies or something. It was some class where dictations. So dictations is I clap a rhythm, you have to write it down. Just like really difficult, right? He would bring in a saxoboom and he would make us write what the saxoboom was playing.
Yeah.
So we would stand in front of the class and be like, dur, 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 and we'd have to transcribe the rhythm or the notes or the whole thing.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. That's great.
That's an old 20-year-old memory. So
fantastic.
Thanks for that.
No, my pleasure. Thanks for explaining so the audience can understand, because a lot of people, they are not aware of what is the saxoboom instead of saxophone. Great. So how do you deal with the current political environment regarding the new generation music industry?
I'm like very much a gigging musician. So it's like people, when they're actually in the presence of a band, I almost, sometimes I do solo work, but almost always I have minimum 3 people I'm playing with.
Okay.
And when people come into that environment where they actually hear the music coming out of the band and filling up the room, it creates a atmosphere that's kind of contagious. And I don't think it doesn't matter how old or young the people are, they're suddenly just fully into it, engaged. Because I remember one day I had a gig, but I was going to be late for the gig. So I told the band, I'm going to be late, so start without me and I'll just cruise in. You'll be fine. Okay. And I was walking up Granville Street, and it was at Uweezy's, a restaurant that closed down recently.
I know that one.
It was at Uweezy's, and I'm walking up the street and it's totally quiet. You know, South Granville, it's not even really South Granville, but the other side of the bridge, it can get so mellow in that neighborhood. There's not a sound. It's 8 o'clock in the winter. It's kind of rainy. It's just quiet. And then I hear the sound of the band. Yeah. And I'm like, it's resonating the building. Yes. And I was like, this is what it feels like. I'm so in it all the time, but this is what it feels like for people that aren't expecting it or are going to it. They hear the sound and it draws them in. And I really don't think it matters if they're young and they're into whatever, or they're old and they just want to hear the old hits. Yep. There's something about creating it's like a little bubble of an environment that people gravitate into. Lovely. Well, thanks for telling us. What inspires you when you are creating a new music for the world? Oh, all sorts of stuff. Uh-huh. Yeah, I really love writing. I really love writing music. Yeah, I think there's like a very like cerebral way of writing where I really write. It's almost like a puzzle. Okay. It's like I get to make a puzzle that I can play on piano. When I do this, I'm like playing piano, you know, I'm like, or I'm playing saxophone. I'll often compose with my flute. Yeah, so there's sometimes I'm like orchestrating this weird interlocking parts. That's the inspiration. Yeah, and then other times I'll be like biking, and I'll be humming a tune, or I'll start singing a lyric, and I'll be like, I gotta get this. And it's a very organic song, and it has a nice melody and a lilt to it. Yes. And both those ways are totally valid, and they're totally different. Okay. Yeah, but then those songs come up for me, and I'm like, I gotta write this down, or I gotta write this down. and maybe they come up somewhere in between. But it's usually kind of those extremes.
I know. Well,
and then it's really fun because I get to write music for the Carnival Band, which is a band here in Vancouver that rehearses at Britannia. It's a community band, and it's lots of brass instruments, and they play all my weird music. It's great. Lots of it's very like Balkan-y, or lots of it's klezmer-y, lots of it's super funky, New Orleans kind of style, Brazilian almost sometimes. So they'll just like do whatever I write for them, which is so much fun. And then of course my own band, the Tim Sars Band, we play a lot of originals and stuff like that.
Fantastic. Well, that's a good inspiration. Now, you talked about the music and you said that you're taking notes and ideas and all that. And I strongly believe in that. Like ideas are like slippery fish. If you don't hold it tightly, it will go away. And you need to write down, empty your mind on paper. The moment you get an idea, write it down. Fantastic.
Definitely.
Now, my second question is kind of very strange, but inspiring too as well. Personally, I wanted to ask you this. Can you tell a story through music without speaking?
Sometimes, I wonder, like, sometimes I write instrumental music and I come up with a name after, and I ask my daughter, what should I call this song? Like, what does it mean? It doesn't even mean anything. Like what? Like do, re, mi, re, do. Like what does that mean? It doesn't really mean anything. But then other times, it has like an emotion to me because I played it at a time, or I played it at a place, or I played it with other people. Okay. So it kind of like builds a relationship over time.
Yes.
But I would say my lyric based has more of like a actual meaning to the world of that we create in our heads. Where my instrumental music, it takes a bit of time before it builds that type of meaning.
The story, Fantastic. Well, I like that, and you get inspiration from your lovely daughter. Well, kids have a lot of imaginary questions most of the time. Why this? Why that? Yeah. Now, we talked about kids and all. Now, my next question to you is that what would you tell to the young aspiring musician to do and don't do?
Oh, to do and don't do.
To the new aspiring musician.
Gosh, this is like funny. This kind of goes back to that question, like that it's always changing. And honestly, in like the 15 years that I've been like actually working as a like professional musician, getting gigs, I think probably a lot of things have changed.
Okay.
Already that I'm not even really conscious of. You know, I'm still working in a framework that works for me.
Yes.
But everybody is creating their own framework.
So true.
Yeah. And I guess we all learn from our mistakes, you know?
Yes.
So it'd be nice to alleviate some of that, those mistakes for somebody else.
It's okay to do mistakes.
That's part of it, right?
It's part of it. Yeah. We should not get afraid of mistakes, because that makes us more conscious about that. At least we are doing something rather than doing nothing. And people who do mistakes and count and take inventory of their mistakes, they can find more hidden secret in their adversity and defeat. Because I believe behind every adversity and defeat, there is a hidden equivalent seed hidden inside for the benefits.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic. So now you have reached to the point in your life where you feel giving back to the community. So please tell us about that. You are teaching in the school. So please shed some light on that area.
Yeah, that's nice. I'm still in this program, so I'm not really teaching in the schools yet. I'm going to do my practicum in the fall, which will be really fun. So I'll be in a school in Westminster working with the children there, the teens there.
Yes.
But I have been doing Carnival Band for a very long time, for like 10 years. That's a community band of all ages. And then I've been doing the Greenhorn Community Music Project, which is an after-school program.
Okay.
At Britannia for youth.
Okay.
And that's been really fun. Yeah, I think there's it's just so inspiring. It's like really, really inspiring working with these children. And
Wonderful.
I feel I'm very like natural at it. Like teaching in like funny and unique different ways. I think the children are like really receptive and they really enjoy it. It's a very like holistic way.
Yes.
For instance, I've this week I've been working with all these kids, and it's been a smaller crew this week, but it's been really great. We've been going from 10 to 3 every day, and normally a program runs a bit shorter, and it's very like regimented. But having like that time to really build the relationships with the kids, we show up, we take a little bit of time to set up, we work on the same things a few times throughout the day.
Yes.
I feel like it has more of like a cultural impact on society as a whole, being able to build those relationships with each other and to the music, and giving them the confidence that they need to actually play, which I don't know if they would gain that confidence from just having a couple hours and then having to go home and practice and stuff. And, it's like this slow
step by step, brick by brick, apple by apple, block by block, one note by one note. Gradually they will pick up all that, and you're one of the inspiration and the best teacher that you can inspire and motivate them to. Fantastic. That's great. We really appreciate your contribution towards the community, that what you're doing and going to teach and all. Now let's jump to the second round we call Make the World Happy Round. Okay, sir. So it's kind of rapid fire kind of questions. First one, are you also thinking of acting?
No, but I do act when I get a gig to act.
Of course, every artist is an actor. It's a hidden actor inside in every musician or artist. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Okay, next. Do you compose music for your own pleasure or for people's pleasure?
Both, definitely both. Yeah. And not at the same time all the time. I've got lots of songs that I'll never play for people.
You're smart, Tim. You're really smart. You escaped from this one. Okay, next. Have you ever felt not satisfied after the show with yourself that you would have done better?
Yes.
Okay.
It's gotten better.
Okay.
But I would say like 10, 15 years ago, I walked away from shows just crying.
Oh no! Well, those are memories.
I'm happy now.
You're happy now. That's why you're on the Happy Conversation Idea Show.
Yeah.
Make the world happy. Okay, so now, what is one thing the audience doesn't know much about the music industry?
Oh, that we're like, they don't know anything about the music industry. The general public has a completely different understanding of what actually is happening in the music industry. All
right. Now this is that's smart. You're okay. You escape from there too as well. Okay. Now, can you play music for our audience if you don't mind?
Okay.
Maybe a little bit. Maybe you can, with one of my questions when I was asking you, can you tell a story without speaking? So maybe you can say the Happy Conversation Idea Show with your music.
Okay.
It's too much for you, I guess. But
you did. No. You warned me. You warned me about this. So I did, because I'm a baritone saxophone.
I know, sir. Thank you so much. It's an honor. You can play whatever you feel like.
Okay.
This audience would like to
know. Yeah. I'll give you like a 1 minute, 30 second kind of.
1 minute.
What the happy?
30 seconds.
I'll give you happiness. The happiness show on the baritone saxophone.
It's an honor. Hey! I hope all the audience will also be clapping right now. It's an honor. Thank you. Thank you so much, Tim. This is wonderful. Wonderful. Now, the second question is related to that. How do you handle
There's one question.
Yeah, of course. There are a few more. Okay. We can hear you louder out probably. Okay. How do you handle paparazzi moments?
Oh, I try to embrace them.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful.
But sometimes like doing autographs can be really, really funny and awkward.
Oh, okay.
But
All right.
I try to embrace them. It's pretty funny. Like I don't have that many, but the few I do, I really cherish. So I just try to have fun with them and like be right there for the person. But then I'll be writing. It's usually when I'm like running late or something. I'm like, I can't deal with you. I want to hang out with you.
I know. Those are the moments. Well, that's why you're so generous. Well, thanks for sharing that moment, because most of the celebrity will may or may not say about their moments. Thanks for sharing. So tell us, what do you do when you wind down at the end of the day?
Oh, just fall asleep.
That's good.
No, okay. I definitely know if I don't like play my piano once a day, I feel weird. So sometimes I'll go through a whole day where I'm running around doing all my business, and I'll get home, and if it's early enough, I'll like try to get some piano in.
Okay.
The other thing is often like shows end really, really late.
Yeah.
So that's always, the wind down is a very special time for performers. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we often go for pho or just get something to eat together.
Nice.
And have the post gig hangout.
Yes.
And that's always a big wind down, because it'll be midnight and we're all just totally wired because we played a great show. Nobody wants to fall asleep yet.
I know.
We go out, get a bite to eat.
And a
recap and hang out.
Relax,
actually spend time with each other instead of just being on a stage together.
That's great. Teamwork. Yeah. After all, everything counts because of the teamwork, mastermind alliance. Fantastic. Okay. Next, what to do to avoid while playing music in public?
What? I missed that.
What to avoid while playing music in public?
What to avoid? Oh, okay. Yeah. The thing to avoid is to show if you've made a mistake.
Ah, that's an intelligent
Nobody knows, right? Nobody knows. So, and it takes away from the magic and the joy and the happiness of it. You see a performer playing and be like, "Ah, crap," yeah. It's just like, you save that for the practice or something. But when you're in front of people performing, they don't know. They're just having a good time.
Fantastic.
So that would be my 2 bits.
That's an intelligent answer. Okay, next. What does happiness mean to you in one word?
In one word?
Yes. Or maybe we can use a sentence. Doesn't matter.
Togetherness.
Togetherness. I love it. This is such a wonderful, brilliant answer, Tim. Bonding, togetherness in the world. We need more of this togetherness and bonding to heal the world, to make the world the happiest place as Mother Earth is. Fantastic. Okay, next. If you were not Tim Sars, what would you do?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I would just probably I don't know, I would just be in a state of Zen. Isn't like kind of some Zen monk thing, like no identity. I am not a saxophone, I'm not a father, I'm not anything. I'm just
Okay.
But if I had another career,
I
don't know.
What would be that? So let me put it another way. Okay. If you would be born again, what would you like to become or do? Let's do that.
Gosh, I don't know. I'm really, I feel really lucky, Happy. I'm like,
you happy with the Tim Sars, what you are? That's it.
Happy with my situation, honestly.
Okay, fantastic.
Sometimes I feel like I'm like, gosh.
Okay,
all right. All the stuff I need. I have my saxophones and my piano.
Fantastic. We are so glad to know that. Good. Who is your favorite musician?
Oh boy. Right now, I've been listening to a lot of a guy called Cosmo from England.
Okay.
And I've really enjoyed his music lately.
I hope he is listening to your interview this time. Maybe we'll do that. So can you repeat his name, please?
It's always changing, but right now, Cosmo. I really like his compositions. I like his arrangements. Yeah.
Lovely. Now, we've been talking about music and art and all that thing, but especially with the music. Now, with the best music, does the mind blows away or the heart start beating faster?
Okay. So I got this lyric.
Okay.
And I think they're like two different aspects.
Okay.
There's like the mind part and there's the cerebral part.
Okay.
And I think that's very much often melodic. It's also kind of like this emotional part is tied to that. I think they're actually tied.
Okay.
And then there's the beat. And that's creating that movement. And maybe that's even closer to the heart.
Fantastic. So heart and mind, both together.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. Yeah. Now, this is one of our audience question was that, does the musician fall in love easily?
Oh, usually. Yeah. I think there's there's a romantic nature to
nature in that. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Tim, now imagine, this question is imagination question. Okay. Imagine if God makes you a woman for a day, what would you do more of and less of? I hope your wife is not listening now.
Yeah, my wife's upstairs right now.
Okay.
If God would make me a woman for a day,
yes, sir,
what would I do?
More of and less of. Your time starts now.
Okay. I would probably put on like more dresses and stare at myself and just check them out. and then
less of?
Less of, I don't know. God, I'm kind of a feminine kind of guy, I guess. I don't know what I would do less.
Okay. All right. We will.
What kind of question? How did you come? That is like the trickiest question. Happy, can I skip to the next question?
Yes, sir. Of course. No worries. You already skipped it. Your answer is already taken as granted and we are already laughing. That's good. So that's why I say make the world happy round. We don't do something that it's kind of be sad or something. Okay, next. Now, this is again an imaginary question, but you're going to answer. I know that for sure. If you would be the host of this show, and if I would be the guest of this show, what question would you ask me?
Oh, what gave you the inspiration to create what we're doing right now?
Okay, this is a very preeminent question you have asked me, and I would like to give a little thought, but I think the inspiration was, as I mentioned in my podcast, that I've been very fortunate enough to get my name Happy, biggest gift the entire world. In the entire world, the biggest gift I ever got is my name from my mom. Unfortunately, she's not in this world. But so when I realized that this is my name, I thought I want to live, walk, talk, and behave my entire life with that name, how it represents, and make other people happy. So I think this is one of the best channel and way I found that to bring all the happiest people like you on my show and spread happiness. And that's what I'm doing here, sir. Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for asking that question. Now, this is second last question. What is your favorite word or a quote?
My favorite word or quote?
Yes, sir.
Happy. These are tough questions. And you got like all the tricky questions at the end.
That's why it brings us the most joy.
I'll just say the quote that I think bugs my son right now.
Okay.
But I would say, know your audience.
Yeah. I love that. Know your audience. And it's so true. You know, know your audience, and doesn't matter whatever industry you work in your career or business or entrepreneur or audience, doesn't matter. The moment you are at work, the lights are on. So make sure that everyone is watching you. Doesn't matter. And boss usually have the long shadow in his office. Doesn't matter if he or she is there or not. Know your audience, say the truth, and inspire the world and become more happiest. Now, this last question for you, Tim, and then we're going to wrap up. What is your message for the beautiful people of the world?
I think my message is just we get like this short window to be here, and I really want everybody out there to have a chance to do what they love and to carry that forward and to show the people around them that they're doing what they love. And and I think that really ties into your message. It's finding happiness and taking that opportunity
to live the most precious thing. We should not wait for miracles in life, because our life is itself a miracle. Each day, each minute is the happiest moment, and we should celebrate each moment as the most precious and enjoyable moment of the life. So thank you so much, my friend, with honor and pleasure. Thanks for coming to the Happy Conversation Idea Show. You shared your thoughts, ideas, and story, which was very amazing and inspiring for the young entrepreneurs and young musicians. And now we are very happy to see you that you are flourishing and you're going to teach new young adults. And we wish you all the best, Mr. Tim. And my friend, see you soon sometime in the live concert somewhere. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Happy. This is a wonderful opportunity. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. Take care. See you soon. Thanks.
Bye.